Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. How are you all doing? So, I met someone today that reminded me of something. I met this black lady that was married to a white man who died recently and left her with obviously a colored, as we call it in South Africa, or a mixed race, as people in the diaspora would call it, daughter. And she already had a son before marrying this guy, right? A black boy. So she has the two kids. And now the guy has died and she's left alone with picking up the pieces, not having any help from family, and just generally struggling to pay the rent, get petrol for her car, and raise her daughter, right? And the reason I'm bringing it up is not to judge her, but because it reminded me of something that I wrote about, an exact same, or at least very similar, deja vu-ic, if there's a word like that, deja vu-ic, experience I had growing up, because we grew up in a mixed neighborhood in Bophuthatswana, where there were blacks, whites, coloreds, everyone, right? So there were a lot of these kind of families, black women who had married older, and when I say older, I mean older white men. And in my book, if you read my book, my autobiography, you'll find that a lot of these men back then would marry these women, but they wouldn't accept their children that they had from previous relationships. So it would usually be black women who'd already had one or two kids and happened to be divorced or just single parents. And then this white guy, this old white man, would come and swoop in when these women were still reasonably young and could produce at least one more child for them, right? So they go and have a mixed race child or a colored child with this white man, and their black children from their previous relationships are never accepted by the white guy. He refuses to adopt them. He might take care of them financially to a certain extent, but obviously more attention is put on his own child. So this woman's situation reminded me of that. And I was like, oh God, black women, I'm sorry to say, but sometimes we're just too desperate, you know? I can understand in a lot of ways that our circumstances, how we are raised, seeing what black men treat black women like at home, even some of our fathers, the way they treat our mothers, wanting to run away from that experience, right? I can understand that. But running into the arms of a really, really old, like a daddy / granddaddy old white man who will never accept your black children and who will only accept the child that you give him, his own blood, it's a bit too desperate. Is it not, in a sense, exchanging one form of servitude / slavery for another? It's just an exchange program. Because basically what these white men are doing is getting someone they can control. Because if you notice, these old white men look for particular types of black women. They look for someone obviously a lot younger than them, 15, 20 years younger than them. They look for someone who's smaller than them. Have you noticed that? It's always physically you have to be smaller than them. And that's a control thing with men. You know, they get you physically smaller so that they can overpower you. They can control you. They can have the dominion in the relationship, you know. Take note of it. They always find someone smaller, someone very thin, someone that they can physically overpower. And they never ever accept your black children as part of the family. You know, they might act like it, you know, walk the walk, talk the talk, but deep in their hearts, that kid will never be a part of their family. You know, the child that you produce for them will be theirs and part of the family, but what they just want is a slave, someone to control, someone to own, you know. And I find a lot of these women back in the day and now don't work, you know. They'll be so reliant on this white man, you know. These white men will make sure that they don't work, that they don't drive, that they rely solely on them financially and otherwise. So that when they pass on, these women are left bereft. The white families don't come to the aid of these black women. They don't come and help you raise your children. They don't come and pay your rent for you. They do nothing for you. You know, once the man dies, that's it for you. You're on your own. You cut loose into the world. And you're back where you started from. So I think we're too desperate. And this idea of, you know, marrying into the superior race because white guys treat their women better than black men treat theirs, man, it's not always true. It might be true to a certain extent, you know, but in the long run, I don't like what I see. I don't like what I see at all. So I don't know. You can let me know your opinion, but this is what I found. And I was just surprised. The reason I brought it up is because I was so surprised that what was happening back in the 80s is still happening now. You know, you see all these mixed couples walking around. It's always a very, very young black woman with a far older white man. And it's obviously for financial gain. You know, they want to break out of the ghetto. They want to break out of their bad circumstances. They want to marry up, so to speak. But is it marrying up? Or is it just an exchange of one form of slavery, depression, servitude for another? You tell me. But yeah, I don't totally agree with it. I don't totally agree with it at all. Anyway, y'all, let me know your comments. I didn't make this video to judge anybody. You know, who the cap fits, let them wear it. You know what I'm saying? But for me personally, nah, bruh, nah. All right, y'all, be good or be good at it. Ciao for now.